Harry, this is Lord Potato, and this is What If Asta was the reincarnation of Zaraki Kenpachi, Part 2. So, Part 1 was yesterday, and I just, only did for, 11 minutes or something. Was it 11 minutes? I can't remember how long I did it. But it was pretty short because of the fact that I had to go to school. But right now, it's 10 o'clock, and I don't go to school until 5. But other than that, let me begin to this What If. And let me shut the fuck up, okay? So, I also want to mention something. If you're wondering when I'm gonna do Naruto What Ifs, you see here, motherfucker. I'm still feeling tired of doing Naruto What Ifs. So, they'll probably come out some days. I say, not Sundays, some days. Not all the time, okay? So, it won't be 24/7 fucking Naruto What Ifs. It'll be sometimes Asta, sometimes Baruto, sometimes Luffy. But yeah. And sometimes Yuji. But yeah. Whatever I think of, I will do it. Whatever I think of. Not ever what you fuckers think of. But whatever. I also have a what if that will be coming out later. That I'm going to have to be reading a little bit because, yeah. Because, well, it's not a fan... Well, I mean... it's not a fanfic. It's mostly a what if that, well, a friend kind of, well, a brother, kind of made. But yeah. But let me go back into this what if and let me shut the fuck up. But yeah. We go into Asta. Asta is smiling with this evil ass grin. Looking at Magna. Magna says, fine, let's begin this. This is where, well, Soy is right now just getting ready and using the Earth Golem. Magna's ready to put fireballs in his hand and hand the fire back. And of course, this is where Mimosa's brother says, I will win. This is where he makes the, cherry blossom, leaves appear. All around the whole freaking, all around the, what's it called, place, the area and all that. This is where, well, Zora, Mimosa, and Asta were there. Zoro was still sleeping. He didn't care that much. He was wondering if they're just gonna fall into traps. Mimosa is kind of worried a little bit. She's not, but she's still a little worried. Asta, on the other hand, says, I see. A long-range attack. Then I wonder if this will happen. Asta pulls his sword out and put it on top of him. You hold it in one hand, but then put it in the other hand. This is where, if you know where this is going, yes, this is, well, Kenpachi learned this because the other captains had to force him to actually learn something, but yeah. Wait. Asta smiles with this evil grin. This is where the spiritual pressure around him starts increasing. This is where Mimosa gets scared. Even Zora woke his ass up. Around him, the blossom around him starts getting pushed away and all that. Thanks to Asta's spiritual pressure, that's where Asta did put both of his hands under his sword, lift it up, and this is where he swings down. A yellow radius attack happens, a slash. This is where, well, the whole thing of the radius of the cherry blossoms happening, they all exploded and blew away. This is where one guy of Mimosa's brother actually has a giant slash on his torso. This is where he falls backwards, and the crystal will shatter. It was cut down through the middle, clean. This is where Asta says, pathetic. Get the fuck out of my face, you weakling. This is where, well, both Soy and Magna wind their eyes how powerful Asta just fucking fucked them up so hard. This is where, well, Mimosa whined her eyes. Her brother was cut the fuck down. Zora whined his eyes, seeing how powerful Asta is. Asta laughs and says, hey, you fucking weakling. Aren't you gonna get up any damn time? Damn, I knew you guys were weak. This is where Asta just starts walking away, puts his sword back into his sheath, and this is where, well, Yoroshi's saying, Kenny, you did it. You won the second match. This is where Kenpachi says, yes, I did. So, after this, you want to go get ice cream? This is where Yoroshi says, ice cream. This is where Yuno is seeing this, And for some reason, he's seeing like a friendly image of back then, of how Asta was always friendly towards him, and always says, "You'll always be my what's it called, brother." That's what remembers. And of course, after that day, since when they were 6 years old, he never seen Asta again. Now he sees Asta, and Asta's being so friendly to this little kid that Yuno's actually kind of getting jealous from the fact that his brother isn't like giving him encouraging words. Instead, it's like a little girl. Actually, yeah. This is where, Yoriichi is the daughter of Kenpachi. Well, Asta Kenpachi. Yes, Asta's last name is Kenpachi. Because Zaraki Kenpachi, Zaraki was his first name. Kenpachi was his last name. It was mostly like a name that he was given from the fact that he was one of the strongest. I think so. If I can remember right, it was something around that. But yeah. Asta, I should also mention, since he is the reincarnation, he does have that sword. Now, if I can remember right, it isn't in the Shinkai state. If I can remember right, in the manga, it wasn't actually in its actual Shinkai state. It was just in a state of sword that kind of looked like that. A Shinkai state looked like a giant, like, butcher knife. I think that was... It's Bankai, it was never stated, I think so, not really. But yeah. But of course, let me go into this what if, okay? So of course, Asa's smiling. Of course, like, smiling, a very friendly smile to Yoriichi. That's where everyone else at Asta smiles. He gives a murderous grin. But yeah, people are wondering how Asta can just go 180 around anything. He can be like super nice to his like daughter, but 180 to murdering everyone else. Yeah, Asta doesn't give a shit about half these people. Like, fuck off. But yeah, the next match goes on, and yeah, yada, whatever. Of course, this is where our friend was about to get killed. And of course, this is where Langris says, "You dead. You would die." This is where before he even gets close to like killing him. This is where Yami says, "Asta." Asta got it. He flashed up. He did a burst run, like a very powerful slash down on Langris. Langris has this giant gash. He goes, Asta says, "Die!" This is where, Julius had to appear and putting them both in time freeze. Asta's being frozen, but this is where the slash is going still down. He's like, "Oh, give up!" He breaks through it and slashes Langris down again. This is where Langris gets a second cut. He's running out, coughing up blood. This is where Asta says, "Come here, you little shit. I heard you like to be bullying my, squad mates. Maybe I should beat your ass so damn hard that you won't be feeling life anymore." This is where, Julius wanted his eyes. And how powerful Asta just managed to break through. Asta doesn't really care about the squad mates, but when Yami does tell him to do something, Asta sometimes do it. Because you see here, Asta's a second, second vice captain. Because his first, Yami's first captain, vice captain, is, you already know, he's in the Space Kingdom. Asta already knows he's in the Space Kingdom because Asta already met him. We go into a flashback. Asta was about 12 years old when he met, not Tish or whatever his goddamn name is. Of course, Tish was like, I don't remember how old was he. I think he was like 19 when Asta met him, like in the manga or even in the anime. I don't remember. But of course, this is where he would have been a little bit younger when he met Asta. Of course, I actually don't remember how old. Wait, let me ask you. So, Tish would be like, not 12. Asta met him when he was kind of like 10 years old. This is where Tish was actually about the age of, he would have been the age of 24 at that time. Now, Tish in the original canon, he's 29, but yeah. Of course, Tish was, let me actually remember how to say his name. Nato was Kaya. I think Notch, because, not Notch. For some reason I was thinking Notch or whatever, but his name is Nocto. And of course, Nocto was 24 when he was meeting Asta when he was 10. Of course, this is where, they became first and second vice captains, but yeah. Mostly, Nocto was actually first. And of course, Yami decided to put him as second vice captain, because he knew Naruto was actually going to the Space Kingdom. or whatever he does anyway. It's where, well, Asta knew also, but he really didn't care. He also did try to fight against Nato in a sword clash, but of course, even though Nato was able to use demons and all that, he was still able to lose against Asta. Asta's brutal power is very, very terrifying. So of course, Nato really never fought against him. So of course, this is where, well, Asta, what happened to him when he was after he became a second, well, like a somewhat lieutenant a little bit. If you think about it, he's a lieutenant, first lieutenant a little bit. But of course, this is where, well, or second vice captain, you can say, because the first one is somewhere, but yeah. This is where, well, what happened with him for 5 years? Because Asta's right now like 15 to 16 a little bit, but yeah. What happened to him was, well, I'll explain later, but yeah. But let me go back into this water. So of course, this is where Asta, he is like smiling towards Yoriichi, but yeah. This is where we go into, well, Yoriichi kind of says, Father, what are you doing? This is where Kenpachi says, sorry about that, Yoriichi. Sorry about not being able to kind of like put you on my back since you wanted to be really on my back. This is where Yoriichi says, yeah, and this mean person, we should kill him. This is where Yoriichi points at Langris, and Langris says, die. This is where he passes out fully. This is where Julius can see Kenpachi listen to, well, Yoriichi, and this is where Kenpachi was about to kill Langris. This is where Julius says, if you kill him, you will be counted as an outlaw. This is where Asta says, do I give a damn though? No, because this is where, well, Asta was about to really cut down, well, Langris until Julius says, stop, please. This is where Yami mostly said it, but yeah, he didn't say please, he just say stop, kid. This is where Asta stopped and says, fine. But didn't you just say go kill him or something? Well, I said go stop him. Let's stop him from killing, well, my transporter. But yeah. But yeah, killing him, I probably don't give a shit that much. That's where Julius says, Yami, you didn't tell me this guy was going to easily kill people and not care. Huh? Oh, do you not remember telling me to stop someone like 6 years ago about them kind of killing a bunch of nobles? You remember the noble slaughter day and all that? That's where Julius says, yeah? Oh, well, you didn't know who was actually murdering a bunch of nobles and magic knights and other things, right? Yeah? Well, it was a 9-year-old boy. This is a 9-year-old boy that you kind of told me to go fight him. We go into a flashback of when Yami met Asta. Asta was actually 9 years old, and of course Asta had like rags of like clothing and all that. Reason why is because Asta just left Hodgeville because he just didn't give a shit. He was also taken when he was younger, but of course he killed his like prisoners. He like kills anyone. But yeah, this is where, well, when he was actually like 6 years old, he was actually taken from Hodge village by some nobles because they wanted to use him as their little kind of fighting like not fighting partner and all that. Mostly like a prisoner as a slave and all that. And of course, Asta didn't like that at all. And the fact that Asta was young and kind, he didn't know better. But of course, when he was aging up to being like 7, he actually lost his mind and became just like Zaraki Kenpachi by killing everyone. Of course, well, he did get the sword when he was 7. And of course, started slaughtering people to survive. But of course, when he was 9 years old, he slaughtered multiple nobles and magic knights from different kingdoms. They could have been like devil contractors, and Asta slaughtered them like it was nothing. Asta didn't give a shit, and whoever just stand in front of him. Asta did not give a shit what rank you were at. He just fucked you up. Yeah, that was how powerful Asta was. Of course, this is where, well, with that happening, Yami was sent towards to kind of see who was actually causing this much trouble, because the other captains were dealing with some other things. That's where, well, Yami was entrusted by Julius to kind of stop whoever's kind of killing them, or killing multiple nobles and magic knights, because the king was actually going to kind of go vacation, and Julius had to do some preparement times. So this murder doesn't actually kill kill the Clover King, but yeah. Of course, when Yami met Asta, this is when Asta rushes at Yami with blinding speed. Of course, they clash, and of course, if you can know about this, Zaraki and Kenpachi, when he was younger, still had very powerful spiritual pressure. So yeah, even when he had both of his eyes, over time it just grew and grew how much spiritual pressure, Zaraki and Kenpachi has. But of course, this is where Yami was clashing with a 9-year-old Asta. They clash and clash and clash. Of course, Yami was using a bunch of dark magic styles because, yes, he does have a dark grimoire because, yeah, Yami does have that because of his name. If you want to think about it, Yami means darkness. But yeah, this is where Yami says darkness cloak. This is where he tries to slash at Asta. Asta gets a slash mark down near his stomach, but this is where Asta slashes down and cuts Yami in the chest. This is where both of them were fighting and going into a standstill. Asta was all bloody, also Yami was also all bloody. This was only a 9-year-old Asta. And this is where multiple bandits and thieves appear, and also kind of like Spade, what's called Kingdom Magic Knights. They had double contractors. And of course, this is where, Asta didn't give a shit how much he was gonna kill any of them. Yami realized that this is bad. But this is where Asta, instead of fighting against Yami, he went to slaughter the bandits, thieves, and even the black Spade Magic Knights. This is where Asta kills them all like a wild animal. This is where, when Yami sees this, all he sees around Asta is death itself. A yellow glow figure. This is where, Asta, after him killing multiple of them, he's still bloody with his own blood and other people's blood. But of course, he looks around and sees Yami. Says, they got in my way. You are the first person to ever show me battle to the death. So fight me. Asta said when he was a 9-year-old. This is where, Asta, when he was a 9-year-old, he looked like he was 16 or even just like he was a 15-year-old, 16-year-old. But of course, he was just still a little bit taller from him being from his shorter side when he was actually 6 years old. This is where when Asta uses his sword to slash down, this is where Yami decides to slash up, and this is where both swords clash. An explosion of powers exploded, and of course Asta was launched to a tree, knocking himself out, while Yami was actually almost knocked out, but managed to kind of save himself by making a dark cloak, what's called shield around him. But yeah, he sees Asta knocked out. And of course, that's where we kind of begin of how he met Nocto. But yeah. So of course, Yami explains, and this is where Julius widened his eyes, that the murderer that was called a slaughterer of the forest was a 9-year-old? And now, how old is he? 16. 16 to 15, if you want to think about it. This is where, Julius widened his eyes. What? It was a 9-year-old boy just wanting to fight people to the death. It was mostly because he just didn't care. His backstory, I cannot really tell from him, but most of the fragments were mostly corrupt nobles trying to use him as a fighter to fight against other slaves and all that. So yeah, of course, Asta lost control of getting annoyed with people, that he just slaughtered them, the corrupt nobles, and anyone that stands on his way. He doesn't care that much. He doesn't care about your status. That's where Julius widened his eyes. If the Clover King went through there, he would have been slaughtering an innocent by Asta. Asta doesn't give a shit about pain that much. It took so many slashes from Yami to kind of knock him out fully. Yeah, from all that blood lost. This is where, Julius says, I see. Well then, Asta Kenpachi, that's her name, right? How strong are you? Huh? What should I tell you? You're getting in my way most of the time when I'm killing people. They're supposed to be fighting to the death, not being a little bitch, and actually being saved. This is where Yami says, like I said, he doesn't really like talking about how strong he is. It's mostly Either you can fight to the death with him, or you don't fight to the death and you get saved. He considered you a little bitch. So yeah, Julius sighs and says, I see. The next match would be... How about you go into the final? This is where Asta says, no! Next match! Third match. This is where Asta has a very glowish tint of yellow in his eyes. This is where, well, Yami says, you're gonna have to listen to him. And Oda, or, I forgot his goddamn name. Oda. I think it's Oda. No, Oda is, what's it called? No. Is it Oda? I don't remember. It's a guy that can heal and all that. This is where Oda says, God, I gotta heal up. Langris is healed up, kinda. He's not that well healed up, because those slashes are deep as hell. This is where Langris gets up and says, I will defeat a peasant like you! This is where, well, Haha guy is scared of Kenpachi and even the girl. This is where, well, Langris told them to kind of, like, defend the crystal. Asta says, I'm going to kill them. This is where, well, Mimosa and, Zora are right now scared of Asta half the damn time, because Asta's pressure is kind of breaking the ground itself, pushing everything down to the ground. This is where, well, Asta isn't, sorry about that, Asta isn't pissed at the fact that Langris hurt Finra. It's the fact that he just doesn't want to deal with Yami most of the time. Asta does whatever he does in his own time. Even if that means killing people, he doesn't care that much. It's just the fact that he just doesn't want to be as a liability towards Yami to kind of bring him to the Black Bulls. Because, well, Asta doesn't want to deal with that. But yeah, because Asta, you see here, can somewhat use Flashback and he can carry a lot of people. But yeah, he mostly carries Yorichi because, yeah, it's his daughter. He's not going to try to carry Yami or anyone else because he doesn't give a shit that much. But yeah. Does it work? Well, Asta says, son, you be fighting against me. He has a sword right in front of him. Does it work? Well, Langris says, I'm going to kill a peasant like you. I will kill you. I'll murder you, you stupid peasant, for laying a hand on me. Asta says, good. Asta rushes at Langris. Langris does a teleport attack. Asta dodges it. He actually gets, well, hit by it by a little bit, but still, it looks to dodge because Langris is still kind of wounded and hurt. And he can't move his body much. So, of course, his magic doesn't really want to work. Asta appears. This is where he sends a slash mark. Horizontal. So, yeah. So, what's it? Wait, no way. He does a slash mark. Well, a slash attack with a horizontal attack. This is where when Langris gets hit, he is actually cut into two. He's like, he actually dies. Asta didn't give a shit about the noble. And this is where when the Clover King said, this is where Julius never thought that Asta would actually kill Langris. Even though he knew that Asta was unstable, he never thought about that. But yeah, oh shit. But of course, we go into, well, Asta just smiling, saying, pathetic. Asta walks away and fight against Haha guy and the girl. This is where Asta almost kills Haha guy with... Of course, Asta almost killed Haha guy with a sword slash if it wasn't for Zoro and Mimosa managed to break the crystal. But yeah, this is where, well, Julius sees that Asta didn't give a shit about the threat of the fact that if he does kill Langris, then he will be considered as a rogue person. Asta doesn't give a shit. This is where Julius wasn't really wanting to make Asta a villain, but making him a villain will also consider that he will be having multiple Magic Knights slaughter in an instant by Asta. Because Asta was 9 years old and he slaughtered over almost about 50% of the Magic Knights of the Clover Kingdom. Even 50% almost of the entire nobles. Asta just slaughtered anyone that came across when he was 9 years old. This is where Julius is scared. Right now, terrified. This is where the Clover King is demanding for Asta's head. And this is where when Asta's getting back up, the Clover King is saying, you dare kill him! And this is where Asta turns around with this murderous glare and says, shut the fuck up. Or die! This is where, well, the Clover King shut up because he didn't want to die. This is where, well, Yorichi ran up to her father and says, Kenny, are you okay? This is where Asta says, I'm fine. He does have a little bit of wounds, but that really doesn't give him like anything. He just doesn't care. This is where, well, Yorichi says, okay, well, just tell me if you're hurt or anything. This is where, well, Kenpachi says, haha, I'm not hurt, Yorichi. These are just little battle scars. They're nothing to be worried about. Because yes, Asta does have some holes around his body. This is where, well, we go into the next match. Yuno is fighting against, well, against that one captain, and of course Yuno was actually going against another people and all that. Because, yes, there's an OC character with blue hair and bluish eyes. Who knows about Asta? This is what, well, they were going against, well, Saina and also another girl with blondish hair and blue eyes, who was there kind of helping her, because Saina's from the Blue Rose, she's from the Black Bulls, and another person was there kind of helping defeat another team. This is where Yuno and her, and what's it called, Saina's and Junko's team, had to fight against Yuno's team with Noel and Fungus Dude. But yeah, the other dude that was on Saina's and Junko's team was a dude that can transform his body to metal. But yeah, this is where, well, they're fighting, and of course, this is where Yuno managed to win, thanks to his spiritual form, and this is where he says, I will win. I will defeat Asta. This is where, well, Saina says, I hope you can. He looks to kind of be craving for murder and crazy killing. Hope you can manage to knock him some sense. Saina passes out after a while. Yuno nodded, and this is where Yuno is going against Asta now. Asta, who is completely bored, this is where, well, the next match is final. This is where it's Yuno, Noel, and Fungus Dude versus Asta, Zora, and Iyo and Mimosa. This is where they are saying, so what do we do? Zora says, again, trap magic around. Asta can run up there and not care. And whatever he does, and we just stay back here, protecting it. Since we're on the only good best. This is where Asta nodded. He didn't really care. Acknowledged them mostly. Asta ran off. Right now, running. He sees a wall right in front of him, but instead of like climbing over or jumping over or whatever, he smashes through it. He starts running like a beast. This is where, well, he knows that the other person is Yuno. He doesn't care about Yuno entirely. He just cares about fighting people to the death. This is what, well, Yuno sees, well, Asta, and of course goes into spirit form because he tells Belle to do it, and of course they start clashing. Asta sends a swing of sword. Yuno has to dodge in the mid-air and hit Asta with a wind attack. This is where he sends multiple wind arrows and attacks Asta. Asta's getting hit by them, but Asta seems not to care. This is where Asta is walking towards Yuno. This is where Asta is smiling towards Yuno. Of course, Asta does have an eye patch that limits his power down. This is where, well, Noel is going to attack Mimosa and sort of team, but yeah. This is where the Fungus Dude saying, no, I will stay here then. This is where, well, Yuno sending multiple wind arrows, wind bullets, and attacking Asta with multiple attacks. This is where Asta gets smashed to the wall. Asta is now knocked the hell out. His sword is right now there in the, like, standing still because his blade is right now stuck in the ground. This is where Yuno says, Asta, you did some terrible crimes, but at least I hope I knock you to your senses. Asta opened one of his eyes and smiles and says, or so you want to fight to the death, I see. Yuno. You think I won't remember your name? You think I won't remember Saina's name either? Then you're stupider than I thought. You want to go 100% right. Let me show you 100%. Asta grabs his eye patch and rip it off, showing both of his eyes. This is where a yellow glow goes into his eyes, and a spiritual pressure explodes, sending everyone down to their knees. This is where Yami senses this shit, and well, he knew this shit was going to go bad, so of course he tried to find a radius so he wouldn't be mostly pushed to the ground like the others. This is where the Black Boss notices and says, what are you doing, Yami? Yami says, oh, hell is going to be let loose, and I hope you guys can stand this pressure. It's going to be 100%, by the way. And this is where all of them say, what? They all smash to the ground. This is where all of them are terrified of this pressure. Asta's saying, you know, you're fighting to me to the death. Yorichi can actually stand up this pressure. She is standing still. She's actually saying, "Go, Kenny, go! Kill him, kill him, kill him now!" This is where, well, everyone is saying, "What?" This is where Charmy says, "Don't kill him! Hey, you little girl, don't you tell!" This is where Yorichi says, "What? And so my father doesn't kill whatever that fucking pretty face? Guess what? My father's the strongest, and if you dare say that my father's weak, I will kill you." Yorichi does turn into a 180 and will kill anyone if they talk shit about, well, Kenpachi much. But yeah. Their Charmy gets scared and say, "Ha! How old are you anyway?" "Oh, 10 years old." Yeah, Yorichi and this one's 10. But yeah. This is where, Charmy says 10. Everyone is 10. They're all confused. But of course, the spiritual pressure still smashes upon them. The Clover King, he cannot stand still. He is smashed to the ground, dented into the ground. That bitch is gone. This is where Asta saying, Asta gets up, grabs his sword, and rushes at Yuno with blinding speed. Yuno couldn't dodge, and of course, Asta grabs him from the head, saying, "Where do you think you're going?" Slashes at Yuno, ripping through his actual spiritual form cloak. This is where Yuno has to slash. This is where he goes, he's bleeding right now from his mouth. He didn't expect Asta to be powerful. This is where Asta is still holding his face, is smashed into the ground like a little bitch he was. This is where, smashes the ground. He is right now remembering Asta's, memories of being nice and kind, and never actually hurting, but this Asta is completely different. This is where Asta puts his blade next to, heart and says, "You would die. It seems it's a shame that you couldn't actually surpass your limits and actually break them. It seems you're gonna have to die." This is, "Damn it, Asta. What happened to you?" "A lot of things happened to me. But not the point. You're dead." This is where, says, "I won't die." This is where he unlocks the second grimoire, and this is where he sends a star attack at Asta, smashing him away. This is where he says, "I won't die." This is where, 100% of the spirit cloak happens. Instead of having no weapons in his hand, he has now an axe. He's saying, "I will win against you, Asta. I will become the Wizard King. I won't lose." Asta says, "Dang good. Fight me to the death." Asta rushes at, this is where says, "I won't die." Was called Wind Style Slash. Was called Wind God Slash Axe. This is where, he swings up against, Asta, and this is where he sends multiple star swords at Asta also. Asta swings once, vertical down. This is where, not vertical down, vertical up. And this is where, both attacks clash in the middle. But Yuno's power was actually being overpowered by Asta. This is where Yuno gets pushed away, slashed down, and that's right now out of his spiritual cloak. He's right now coughing up blood, and blood is flowing through his mouth. This is where, the match is over, thanks to Noelle managed to break the crystal. This is where she says, "Yes, I managed to do it." This is where Yuno's team actually wins, but Yuno was in critical hurtness. Asta, on the other hand, was also critical hurt, but this is where Asta didn't need help. This is where Asta put back his sword back into it, sheath, and of course started walking away. This is where he kind of told Yorichi to come with him, because this is where Yorichi nodded and does kind of jump on, Asta's back, and this is where Asta does put his eye patch back into his eye. This is where, let's just say, "So, Yami, seems this was kind of fun. It was kind of boring at the same time. I'm thinking of just going back into becoming no magic knights, and actually rather kill nobles and magic knights. Maybe they give me a better fight than any other person." This is where Yami says, "Calm down, kid. It's better if you don't do that, because you will be counted as an outlaw." Don't care though. Yami says, well, god damn it, whatever. You can go back home or whatever you want to do. Asta walks away and disappears with a flash step, but yeah. Listen, well, everyone is terrified of Asta. Langris is dead while Yuno is in critical hurtness. The other people that fought against Asta in the beginning were also critically hurt. This is where Julius is thinking in his head what he should do. That's where the Clover King said, we should execute him. Kill him now. That's where Julius has no other way but to actually make Asta go through a trial. This is where, well, Nero actually lands on Junko's head and Junko kind of says, oh, Nero, you're here. But yeah, this is where, well, we go into a timescape later, about like 4 days later. This is where, well, Asta is right now in a trial with Tabarante or whatever Kira his name is. This is where, well, he says, are you playing guilty for your crimes of killing nobles when you were 9 years old, for killing 50% of the nobles and 50% magic knights? Asta looks at Kira, and of course Asta has multiple chains around him. This is where Yoriichi is actually chained up also, and Asta's getting angrier and angrier. This is where Yoriichi says, Father, I'm scared. This is where Asta breaks the chains, grabs his sword, and grabs Kira from the head, slashing his head off. This is where Asta doesn't give a shit and kills all the nobles, even the Clover King in that place. He didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a goddamn damn about shit. This is where Asta, he walks out of the house. The whole, like, place does crumble down and break. And Asta just walks out being bloody as hell. Yoriichi was kind of on top of Asta saying, yay, let's go get some ice cream, yeah. When Julius got word of this, he was scared and shocked. The fact that the Clover King is now dead and the whole fucking noble place and Kira's, oh well, Kira is dead. Not even Kira can stop him. Even with his judge magic or whatever. Asta just fucked them all up. He didn't give a shit. You make Yoriichi cry, he's going to kill you all. But yeah, this is where, well, Yoriichi was getting ice cream with Asta, but yeah, this is where, well, Julius just didn't want us to do anything. So of course he just let Asta just be off the hook. So yeah, even though Asta did so many crimes, it was a 9-year-old Asta. And now that Asta's 16, he still doesn't give a shit that much. But yeah. So where, well, Asta is right now just walking through the kingdom, but yeah. He then just leaves and goes towards somewhere, but yeah. We go into a time skip of the elves now attacking. Of course, Julius was killed. Of course, the Clover King is dead when the elves kind of heard about this. So, of course, they're mostly attacking a bunch of humans. This is where 4 elves kind of fucked up and woke up a beast in his hibernation. This is where, well, that beast cut the elves like it was nothing but string cheese. Yeah, he basically cut them down like string cheese. This is where, well, this person starts walking out, and Yoriichi says, so, we're going to go kill all the people who piss us off? I guess so. Let's go, Yoriichi. But this is where I'm going to leave it off for part, well, 2 of this what if. But, yeah. Have a nice potato day, potato night, potato seed, potato, and good night. But yeah, bye.